Kelly, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. We are live, and everybody is, I'm sure, slipping in the last weekend before Christmas. So probably a lot of people out shopping and probably catch this on the replay.
I have like all my kids' Christmas presents behind my chair, so the stacks of boxes.
Oh, yeah. I have a hard time hiding stuff here too with caregivers and everything.
hmm
I have sacred spots where at Christmas time you don't go.
Yeah, they're still in the Amazon boxes, so we're all good.
You'll know if they peek.
Yeah.
So tonight we're gonna I don't know. We thought we'd talk a little bit about how far women's fitness,
hmm
where it started and how it came along, because I hate to say it, but women were kind of late to the party. I mean, the Olympics have been going on for literally what, 1,000 years?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not sure, but
check
probably.
our lips, see how long men were in the Olympics, but women didn't get to compete until like 1900. So they
And then
were quite
even
a
like
bit
the
late. So,
What is it? The Boston Marathon. There was pictures of like the women weren't allowed to run in that either. And I remember seeing a picture on the internet of a lady running, and the guys are just were trying to push her out of the way.
oh no, actually, it wasn't that bad. It's not as long as I thought. Maybe it's all the modern Olympics. That's why. So technically, the modern Olympics started in 1896, but there were things before that. Originally accepted as the ancient Olympics in 776 BC. So the men had to have some start on the games for sure. Women didn't get until 1900.
Oh
So,
wow.
and then we you found a great article that kind of goes through it. So we'll kind of go through the article, and then I found a few pictures that we'll throw up so that we can kind of see the time frame and how the fitness attire has changed over the years. The physiques have definitely changed. A lot of things
hmm
are more acceptable. Like women's professional sports didn't even start until 1972.
Oh
Women weren't
wow.
allowed to have their own. So that was when all of a sudden you got your Chris Everett Lloyd from tennis and everything. Oh, what do we
What
got
I
here?
found interesting when I was looking up stuff was how strong women, like the pictures that I showed you, the strong women, like from like the 1800s, like they were, I think they were like known as circus freaks or whatever. That was interesting because they were, one of them was like 6'1" and was beefy. So I
Elton
didn't
Run.
realize.
Maybe he is your uncle and you just don't know it, Elton. But welcome, Elton. Anyway, thanks for joining us. You know, but you know what? And I forgot to upload that strong woman picture.
It was crazy. And then I think the bodybuilding, the lady from that was the bodybuilder was in 1840, I think. But it was just interesting to see.
Yeah, so women were actually well. Let's start here. Polly found a great article on breaking barriers: the evolution of women in fitness sports by the Idea editorial staff. And it talks about early struggles for physical freedom. During the 19th and 20th centuries, women were often discouraged from engaging in strenuous physical activity due to prevailing medical and social beliefs. Uh, they believed back then exercise is linked to infertility and fragile health. The Victorian era emphasized modesty, and women participate in ladylike activities such as horseback riding, walking, and light calisthenics. However, change was brewing in the 19th century. Catherine Beecher was the original one who kind of started this movement. Developed calisthenics specifically designed to improve posture and strength while adhering to social norms. Dudley Sargent, a pioneer in physical education, advocated for women's access to exercise and introduction to strength training programs like at Wabesi and Radcliffe College. And then as we got into the 20th century, this is what the 20th century in 1900, so 1900 Paris Olympics marked the first time women were allowed to compete. They were limited to just 5 sports: tennis, golf, sailing, croquet, equestrianism, which I have no idea what that is.
Hmm.
Alice Milliet, a French athlete and advocate, fought for women's inclusion in Olympics and eventually organized the Women's Games in 1922, an alternative to male-dominated sports. But for the most part, this is
Mm-hmm.
the women's fitness gyms would look like on your luxury cruises, and it was only delegated to the higher class. If you were, third class, you wouldn't get access to things like this. Not that anything like that really did any good by looking at it. You got a massage thing and trying to round the rump there with the rollers, and
Mm-hmm. Yep.
kind of
Can you
contradictory.
imagine?
I just can't. It looks so contradictory because we got the picture of the woman on the right, and then the guy on the right of that. So in the 20s, they got more advanced. So this is what you got access to.
Yeah. Yeah. And like there was I think it's like a verbal slim. It was a vibrating belt that massaged your body. And you just stand there and they expected you to your attire for that was like in pearls and long dresses. And can you imagine I can imagine working out in a dress.
Yeah, look at that outfit. That was what you were supposed to work out in back then. Women.
That is just nuts to me. I don't even like wearing long sleeve shirts because it just
Can you can you imagine trying to enforce that gym code at the gym now?
no. And then it says like the wellness trend, like in the article that I was reading, the wellness trend for like the 1900s to 1920 was respiratory health. So they wanted you to do deep breathing or yawning. They wanted you to yawn 6 to 8 times a day to help strengthen your lungs. On top of doing those weird machines.
Yeah, it wasn't until the 50s and 60s that laying the foundation for change post World War II Americas when things really started to kick into gear.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell by the chat we're going to be lively tonight. People are having it up, which is good. But we'll do our most to get those comments up. 50s and 60s ushered in an era of female athleticism like Babe Dickerson Zacharias, one of the most versatile athletes of all time, excelling in golf, basketball, and track. Fitness experts like Jack LaLanne. I mean, Jack LaLanne was around. Didn't he live to be 100?
Is that the dude that used to sell the juicer? Like the juicer back in the late
Yeah.
90s?
Yep. I forgot all about that.
He lived to be like almost 100, I think.
Set all kinds of records with strength,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
he was pushing for encouraging women to engage in strength training, challenging the myth that lifting weights made women bulky. So I had no idea he was really one of the first ones to do that. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Jack LaLanne's wife, Elaine, commonly known as the First Lady of Fitness, supported him and his vision. She continues to positively impact women's fitness today. Maybe if she's still kicking like he did.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Idea Health and Fitness is proud to honor their hard work with the Idea Jack and Elaine Lifetime Achievement Award each year at Idea World. So,
Nice.
two of the pioneers of women's fitness were done and being honored. But I mean, that's crazy. 1960s is when women could finally get access on a regular basis to weights and things were going to be okay. John, how do y'all? God bless. Hey, Brian, how you doing, John? Good to see you on a Friday night.
Yep. And also hula hooping was in the 50s and 60s was also like a really popular way to exercise for women. And I think we talked about this, the golden gym, the gold gym. That's when that first like the appeared in the 50s and 60s for the gym culture that we have today, it says in the
Oh, yeah,
article.
gold ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and let's see. Miss Olympia was another one that things got started on late. So you had women when they're working out. Let's see if they. I'm sure they're going to give us some examples here. 72 was the turning point. That was when the legislation mandated gender equality in federally funded programs, including athletics. As a result, female participation in sports skyrocketed. By the 1980s and 90s, women's college athletics flourished, and female athletes like Billie Jean King and Florence Griffith Joyner became household names. Participation in high school sports between 72 and 2019 raised over 1,000%. So you had all these women who were just waiting to be treated equal finally when it
Nice.
came to fitness. More women pursued careers in fitness, coaching, and sports administration. Professional leagues for women's, WNBA, soccer, and other sports gained traction. Yeah, so there was a big lull. It took until after World War II before women were starting to get recognized, at least being able to have access to the sports.
Nice.
Everything kind of grew, started growing in popularity, and then we hit the 80s.
Is that the Jane Fonda
This is
era with the jazzercise and
this
the
is
aerobic Olympics?
this is the girl who started it all
Mm.
in the 80s. That's 1980s Jane Fonda.
I actually worked when I was little. I actually grabbed my sister-in-law at the time, her video, and I would work out to Jane Fonda.
And she actually just put out another workout for the VR system. So in 2025, Jane Fonda has gone back to her roots in fitness. And what's funny is in the she's done a few interviews since then, and says she regrets the way she started this because what she did to attain that body was definitely not a healthy thing. She didn't go into too, like starving yourself, and uh, she had some. I don't think she ever admitted to any. The supplements back then were definitely a lot looser in restriction too. So who knows if she was taking any ephedrine or caffeine? I didn't see anything about that, so don't. That's just hypothetical on my point. Caffeine was the big thing because the 80s and 90s saw an explosion. Jane Fonda's workout tapes, VH tapes, people, half of you probably
Mm-hmm.
don't know what that means. But who was the other one? Susan Powell with the short blonde hair.
Is it the Susan? Did the Thigh Master come out in the 80s or was that the 90s?
Yep, that was right in that 80s and 90s boom. We had
Richard
Tony Little,
Simmons
Richard
sweating into the
Simmons,
oldies.
and we
That
had Tony
one.
Little pushing the Gazelle for women.
I had that too when I was growing up. Um,
Yeah, Amy, it was easy to get those, especially back then.
but they had some weird exercises in the 80s. Have you seen the videos of like jazzercise with the lady and they're like dancing and they're like doing these weird exercises that you wouldn't even imagine would work. She's and then the videos of the dudes doing aerobics, like they had aerobic competitions, like they would like bodybuilding, and they had all these routines. Did you ever see those on the internet?
No, I didn't see the aerobic ones, but
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
they're hilarious.
in the 80s and 90s, they were throwing everything from uh, sticks and stones to wet tampons at the wall, and whatever stuck was the fad that they would run with at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, here's another hottie from the 80s.
I don't know
Everybody
who that
remember
is. Who is
Olivia
that?
Newton-John from Physical?
Oh yeah,
Everybody went through that stage.
yeah.
Amy points out everybody loves Richard Simmons.
I did his videos too. I have to admit, I'd rent them from the library, and I'd do them when I was little.
I love that he was wacky, but my favorite
Hmm.
part was the fact that he uh, he knew what it was like to be obese and then
He
lose that weight.
cared. He cared.
He
He cared.
generally cared about everybody because
Yep.
he knew how hard it was to do that,
Yep.
and so he was a very special person during that push.
Yep. He's
A lot of people tried
quirky.
to
Is
copy him. You
being
know,
quirky is great. Like it brings out you're just. I loved how he was his true self and not like hiding behind anything.
John, when Austin started, Austin who, John? And in the 80s, bodybuilding started to take hold. And I'm going to put a picture up. It's of the first Miss Olympia. So the first Miss Olympia is on the left, but it was the only picture I could find. Um, that is a 2025 bikini competitor. And the person on the left is actually an open bodybuilder back then. So now the smallest girl on the right in today's profession compared to the biggest girl back then.
Wow.
Just to you gotta leave Jane up for Jane Austen. God, oh, I remember that name. Which she was famous for something. What was she doing? But no, nothing fitness. Who else was? But and you wanted to touch on it too, and I think we got enough time we can talk about it. Is the diets back then?
Mm-hmm. I was
You know,
just thinking on the way home, driving at home from work, and some of the
oh,
diets.
Denise Austin. Yeah, the diets were insane.
The
And
diets back then, I know like popping caffeine pills were like big because my sister used to do that back in the early 90s. But like I remember buying like in the 90s like Dr. Phil's like he came out with a weight loss plan. I remember buying his book a
Dr.
long
Phil, oh,
time
that's
ago.
right.
And he had category. I don't even know if I still have it. I saved some of the crazy stuff. And it's like it has points or like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig. Those were popular back in the day.
Yeah, John brought up Denise Austin, and I do remember her. I didn't remember
She
so much
was
for fitness,
was
but she had
she
like a skate machine.
she was like blonde, wasn't she? I think she
Yeah,
was
see if I could.
because she sounds familiar, like she did
I
videos
don't
for
know.
something.
I mean, she had like a cheerleader build.
Hmm.
It really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Back then that was the thing. Thin was the thing, and you and Mel and I had talked about before how the crazy it is, and back then that in the 80s, 70s, 80s, the perfect measurements were 36, 24, 36. And the leaner you were, it wasn't about muscle tone. It was just about being lean, having a skinny butt.
Yep.
And then they had the Thigh Master.
Is it Susan Summers? Did she do
Yeah,
the
Suzanne Summers.
oh
Yep.
yeah, and Buns of Steel. That was big. Buns of Steel. They had videos of that, didn't that?
Oh yeah, they had VHS ones of that. I was doing Buns of Steel. Amy WC says I was doing Buns of Steel back. My husband thought it would be easy for him, so I challenged. After all 5 minutes, he grabbed his glutes, gave an and gave up. Yeah, they probably,
Mm.
so, I mean, all of the '80s gimmicks were just.
Do you remember like in the movie Goonies where they had like that spring arm stretcher? Those were
Oh
big in
yeah,
the 80s. There
Master
were,
Flex.
and then the hand make your hand like a little spring where you squeeze and like exercise your hands. Those were big.
Leg lifts. Amy says leg lifts look easy until you have to do a ton of them. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the knowledge has come so far too. I mean, along with
Yep.
there's a whole lot of good that's come out of it. I mean, obviously you want people to be fit,
Yep. My
but
favorite of like
unfortunately, you
the
know,
90s was Tybo. Do you remember Tybo? Was it
mhm,
Billy
Billy
Bull?
Banks,
Yes. I had all those. Those were that was a fun one.
and all of those were geared toward women. None of those were geared toward men.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the video, it was Billy Blanks doing his Tybo, but it was all women in the background.
Yep. Then there was the beach body. That was big in the like 90s and above. Like that's a big one. They switched, it's not called Beachbody anymore, but I remember the infomercials for that, Lonnie. I actually still have some videos of that one. I did like Tybo. It's like it was not Tybo, it was Turbo Jam like Tybo.
Well, you know what else has changed? Gym attire.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at. I mean, this was pretty risque back in the 1900s.
That's something you'd walk down the street now with.
Yeah, this was expected when you were the higher class in the 1920s. Then we get to the 70s. Check these beauties out.
Oh gosh. I think my parents probably put me in some of those.
I was putting a little yellow shirt with the little puppy on the thing.
Yeah, with the bowl cuts,
Yep.
bowl haircuts.
The freaking corduroy jeans that would wear your knees out before they would.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the 80s. This is where, as a guy, I'm not going to complain too much. Spandex became a thing.
Yep. And the leotards with the thongs leotards.
Yep.
Yep.
And the guys were wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, look at those 70 gym uniforms. Yep, that's exactly where they're from, Amy. Those were gym uniforms that you had to wear at the time. 80s, 60s. The 70s, what I looked up, but maybe. I had to go to YMCA to work growing up. Oh, you actually worked at a YMCA, John? That's cool. Yeah, the girls' gym wear back in the 70s. I wish I'd have put a picture up of the tank, Arnold in a tank top and the shorts, because women's gym were
That's
much more
horrible.
than the stringer tank top and the spandex banana hammocks that they were walking around in. And then and now we're closing in on the 90s and the 2000s. Here's where things get. It's to me, it's a double-edged sword. It's great when
Mm-hmm.
because women are getting healthier,
Right.
way more knowledge, way more acceptable. There's a lot of women out there kicking men's asses. in sports, like, you out deadlift probably 90% of it's 80% of the guys in there and probably all of the women at this point. And so,
Yeah.
if, and it's considered cool back in the old days, you'd have been considered a circus freak because of how strong you are,
Yeah. Yep.
now. But with that, now we get into modern day. Amy, my parents owned a couple of women's workout worlds in the 90s. Oh,
Like
that's cool.
curves. Like curves. Curves was
Curves,
like popular.
the all girls gym.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy, I'm going to touch on it. I don't want to get too deep because I don't want to go out of bounds with this one. I am going to start doing unfiltered stuff on my channel, and this is going to be a topic because now when we're talking about female fitness, female in sports, and how everything's good and it's gaining popularity. The downside of that, now we're getting into TikTok and influencers that we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, I understand. I am all for your body, your choice on a lot of things. But when you compare the Miss Olympia, who's on the left,
Mm-hmm.
to the current Miss Olympia, that is a drastic change.
That's a lot of muscle.
That's a
So
beast
that's
of
a
a
lot of work.
it
That's
is.
more work than I want to put in. I like to eat. I don't want to
Amy
have
even knew who it was, and I didn't have to tell.
to.
She was the first Miss Olympia, Rachel McClish, and she was also married to John Claude Van Damme, 80s action
Nice.
star.
I thought he was hot back in the day.
Exactly, Amy. Amy says I know exactly who that is. She was still feminine and muscular. She was great. And then you had Corey Everson, who came along. I didn't put her picture up, and started pushing the muscular boundary a little bit. And maybe Amy, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, now you've got these women, and now you've got the TikTokers who look more like the girl on the right. That's a little more.
Mm-hmm.
How do I put there is so much outside pressure now on women because and even though the fitness thing's great, but there's so much women and there seems to be such a standard now. Almost it's not the best you anymore.
Yep.
It should be. It should be celebrated and people should be encouraged to come in and work in, but they should have the same real expectations too.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
mean, they're
And
in a
for me, in all honesty, I'd rather have the body of the older picture than the body of the newer one. In all honesty, because the first one is more realistic than the second one. For me, it is.
yeah, and I think a lot of people will too. I got to check. Amy's got me confused on. I
You
got to
gotta
check.
check to see who is
Is Amy
married.
going to check for me? Yeah. Who was John Claude married to? Oh, she's right. Son of a biscuit eater. Gladys Portuguese. Oh, he's been married a few times. John's making the rounds. Speaking of 80s and 90s fitness phenomenon,
Mm-hmm.
he's been married Gladys Portuguese from 87 to 92, then married her again. 99, Darcy from 94 to 97, Mary Rodriguez, 80 to 84, Cynthia Deridian, 85 to 86.
Hmm.
He's going to run finger counting wives.
That's a
John
lot.
definitely. Amy, the one on the right, is freakish, and she's in the smaller group now. Amy, that's the thing. The other girls are, you know, 30, 40, even 50 pounds heavier. There's one, what's her name? The Russian, they call her Amazonka. She
I don't
holds a
know.
bunch of world records for bench press and arm wrestling and curl. And she's 225, ripped on stage.
Yeah,
It's freakish.
it's a lot of dedication. Like I don't I could never. I mean, I have a lot of dedication for my powerlifting, but I like to eat. I can't. I wouldn't. I couldn't restrict my diet as much as they do. More power to them, even if they're not natural.
Yeah, and you see, I wonder who actually restricted it more now because back when you got Rachel there on the left, there were no uh, chemical enhancements. That,
Hmm.
that didn't really start until 2 or 3 Olympias later when, Corey started, the girls started getting bigger. So Corey, decided to get a little bigger too. And that's when it became more acceptable to do what they were doing, which, they talk about people transitioning. I mean, women bodybuilders have kind of been doing it by accident for a lot of years.
Hmm. I remember that picture you showed me of that one 80s bodybuilder, and then
Oh, yeah.
now
Denise
she
Radowski.
looks has like a full grown beard. I don't remember her name, but that was like crazy to me.
And Amy brings up a good point here too, because, back in the competition days, they didn't all have, fake implants, and
Right.
now um, glue, not glue, glute enhancement filler that actually they put in like a day or two before, and it irritates the muscle, so it inflames it, so it swells up and looks bigger. Because if you see him 3 or 4 days after the show, that butt don't bounce a quarter like that.
Yeah. It's just the muscle definition is just crazy to me.
It
Like
is, and
it's just I just can't fathom. It's to me there's nothing it's just not attractive. I mean, just for me I'm a, um I'd
I like
rather
to
look
look,
like the 80s lady.
and that's what Amy's saying here. That I like to look at Linda Hamilton's arms in the Terminator.
Oh, she was muscular. I remember watching those movies when I was younger, and she was awesome.
John hormones. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of extra hormones in now, and even in the male bodybuilding and fitness industry, everybody said the 80s and 90s were the golden era. That was the best it was going to be, and it's funny to hear some of these guys coming out now and actually calling out modern bodybuilding and fitness influencers and things like that, because it's all about being big. I mean, even the females, it's about you
Mhm.
being big. Her waist isn't that tiny,
Mm-mm.
waist.
But look at her six pack. That is
Yeah.
just it's crazy. It's just crazy. And it's the tanning. Doesn't the tanning when they do have to tan, like do the fake tan that pops out the muscles too?
Yep. You
Makes
got to
them
do
look
a fake
big.
tan. You got to get oiled up. And it was funny because during a bodybuilding seminar I went to, um, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, John. Anyway, he was a local boy who had turned pro bodybuilder, and he was giving a posing and prep seminar.
Mm-hmm.
There was a question I wondered, and but was too shy to ask. It was like, as far as black people go, do you tan? And he was talking about his experiences and the fact that he's like, oh, I'm black, I don't need to tan. And some guys just saying, no, 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 you still need to tan, brother. You need to get in there and tan. Oh, okay. So he started tanning, and then he had other people ask him, man, you're black. Why do you got to tan? What do you think you're doing? You're not doing nothing. Oh, okay. So then his very first show, he didn't tan, and he
Mm-hmm.
got on stage and he looked around and he said, I was the whitest MFer up on that stage. So even the black people have to tan and use the fake dye.
It's just crazy. Like I know, like when I was showing people around at the gym, and there was a couple. They didn't even the color the couple color people showing they didn't know what the tanning beds were. They're like, "What is that? Is that like a spaceship?" I'm like, "No, that's a tanning bed."
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I take for granted that everybody knows
Mhm.
about, and
Mhm.
they don't.
Yep. I didn't
Especially
realize
with,
Olivia Newton-John was into had fitness videos.
I think she didn't do a whole lot with it. She got in great shape, but her
Mhm.
song "Physical" is what. And then they made the video of her doing the aerobics and everything with the song.
Oh,
So that
okay.
kind of put her into that category because she lost so much weight. Because if you compare her there to like Grease, where she played
Mhm.
Sandy,
Mhm.
there's a big difference. But the diets for women were horrendous back then. I remember a coach prepping a girl, and she didn't need to lose a lot of weight, but it was lettuce 4 times a day. And then she would get 4 ounces of chicken, half a cup of cottage cheese, and more lettuce. And then on her cheat day, she would get 2 meals of rice and chicken and a half a cup of ice cream.
Wow.
That was until 12 weeks out. And then she didn't even get that.
So, what is the average calorie intake for average bodybuilder then? Since I don't bodybuild, I'm just curious
Yeah, it all depends on your size,
on the
how big you
size.
are, how much, because, um, how much muscle you're carrying. Like Craig's calorie intake's gonna be way bigger than mine because he carries so much more mass. Um,
Because
and
it's,
if they're enhanced or not, that's the other thing.
yeah.
The enhanced guys, 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day, and that is Dorian Yates. I can quote because he's my favorite bodybuilder of all time. Was he was 6,500 during his bulking, and
Hmm.
then he get down as low as 4,000 during his prep, which is
Wow.
still double, almost double what I intake for cutting. So the chemicals do a lot.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Liquid fasting. Like,
Yeah, I forgot about
yeah.
them.
Or and
Liquid
there was like the
protein.
cabbage diet. Do you remember the cabbage diet? Did you ever hear about that one?
Vaguely remember that. They had the cabbage dye. They had the what
Slim
was it?
fast. That was
This was
my mom
the
used to buy
80s were
that.
when the supplements started to hit, and oh my god, I would do anything. I was 165 pounds back in the day, and I would do anything to get big. So I would spend my money on any supplements. Joe Weider, Arnold had a protein shake. That was how he got big. That's what he said. And that stuff, I swear, you needed a concrete mixer to get it to mix up. It tasted like dry concrete, but
Ew.
then I'd be willing to do that. So they were just inherently gross.
Oh, that
and
sounds gross.
they have come so far as taste and stuff that actually works. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, exactly, gaining it all back because
Yep.
once you actually started eating food instead of pooping cabbage 24/7.
Yep. Yeah. What people don't realize is you have to, like, there's just no magic pill. So like I went on the high protein diet, and I ate all the protein. I lost 68 pounds. And then I went off the challenge I did with the gym I was before I went started working out at the regular gym. It was a women's gym, and I gained it all back within a couple months because I was never taught proper nutrition and how to keep it off. I was just taught to eat as much protein as you possibly could.
Yeah, the problem people do is, I mean, not only going back to what they were doing beforehand, but your body has a thing called homeostasis that it likes to stay a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you hit a weight, let's use mine. Um, my body is pretty comfortable between 265 and 270. So when I lose weight, I got down to 250, and uh, and I was just guilty of it. Once I hit 250, life happened. I started eating again, so I put it back on like that because your body wants to get back to
Mm-hmm.
weight. So in order to
Mm-hmm.
maintain that lower weight, you have to get there and maintain it. And a lot of the times, it's about 3 months. Once you hit right around that 12-week mark, then your body resets to be happy at that weight. And I mean, that only goes so far down, but um,
Yeah.
people will get there and then go back to what they were doing, and then they can't believe how fast they put the
So
weight back on.
when did bariatric surgery become popular then? Because that was like that that was a lot of people were doing that.
Oops.
Because there's just so much out there that
Yeah, and I mean, luckily it's become safer, and I want to say it's probably been around a while.
I think yeah.
Started getting big in like the 90s, I want to say.
Because there was like a pill in the 90s. I remember because one of my family members took it. It was like this pill the doctor was prescribed, and it was like sort of like that. Do you remember the over-the-counter pill that you could buy and you'd eat, but you couldn't eat so much fat or you'd end up having bathroom problems? It was like it wasn't a, it started with an A or something because like all the grocery stores sold it. It was that kind of form, but the doctors would prescribe it. And my family member ended up having to get like think their gallbladder out because of they were taking those pills. It's crazy.
60s it started.
The 60s?
Yeah. And back when they were doing it, initially it was inspired by patients for losing weight after stomach surgery for ulcers.
Hmm.
The initial bypass caused bile reflux, leading to the development of Rauch's ENY gastric bypass, which rerouted the intestine and became the gold standard. Because Amy mentioned that they used to staple the stomach. So, um, and another thing that they used with it was in 1977. They started wiring your jaw shut.
Oh gosh.
But I mean, even modern procedures are pretty risky.
Mhm.
Linda cabbage soup. Oh, I hate cabbage soup. I hate the
I've never had it, but I remember like my mom made it a couple times and it just looked gross.
That's a good question. You used to call it stapling and getting the stomach stapled. Yeah, my aunt actually had that done, and it was 8, 9 years later. She started having issues where She was getting sick, or she was starting to have a mental decline. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, eventually got put in a home, and then got really sick. And they turned around and find out after an MRI and CT scan that during that stomach surgery, they had left a little hole behind on the backside of the stomach that had been leaking bile into her system.
Oh no.
And so they closed the hole, and within 6 months, brand new.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
The worst thing for weight loss was salt intake. Now they actually encourage you to use salt so that you can, for hydration to a point.
Mhm.
Yeah, Amy, that sounds familiar. You used to get potato chips with some kind of fat that didn't get digested, bathroom problems. Yeah, they
It
have.
was the baked potato chips, the Lay's baked potato chips. They used to warn you that if you ate too many of those, you'd have bathroom problems.
Yeah, they have fat binders, and those are just horrible to use. If you're that desperate to lose weight, man, jaw wiring might be the way to go. Because it would definitely would not be worth it. I tried one of those one time, and like, no,
Mhm.
yeah, Amy, leaking bile. It was a bad scene. So fast forward to what's it like today? I mean, I get a kick out of seeing like Holly outlift a lot of these young kids. I don't like CrossFit as a sport, but I think them athletes are amazing. And
Mhm.
it's almost more one of those sports like geared toward women. You hear more about like Tia Tomey and a couple of the other gals who are amazing athletes and what they can squat and stuff. Um, I think CrossFit could be a good thing. This is one of those, fast forward into modern, because CrossFit's only been around about a decade.
Those Olympic lifts and these watch those women just lift all that weight above their head is like it's just crazy to me. It's amazing.
John said those staples used to bust. I could see that, and maybe that's what happened. But yeah, the Olympic lifting's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
if they can get it narrowed down a little bit instead of avoiding things like that happened with that swimmer last year. Do you remember that with the swimmer
No.
where the guy passed away right in front of one of the referees?
Oh no. I don't remember.
Yeah, they were down in Texas, and the water was actually 2 degrees colder than what any swimming organization would allow you to swim in.
Mhm.
They had done a half a marathon, and then they had to jump in the water, and I forget, 12-mile swim or something. And then they only had like two or three lifeguards on paddle
Yeah.
boards. And it's on camera. You can go on YouTube and watch it. You can see the guy um, start floundering, and he's kind of doing this. And
Mhm.
other guy on the paddleboard is right in front of him, doesn't see it, doesn't do anything, and then the guy disappears below the water. Everybody else sees it. People start rushing toward the water, and then the security comes out and pushes all the people back. And they're screaming at him to do it. The guy gets, their lifeguard goes over, paddles twice, doesn't see anything, and then just leaves. And they let everybody else finish the race before they went and looked for him.
Wow, that's horrible.
So I'm hoping they will learn from that, and because I do think it is amazing to watch, like you said, some of the lifts the women do,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially when they're doing those medleys where it's, you know, lift this weight, run up, climb that rope, ring that bell, come back down. Olympic lift another heavier weight, run back.
Yep.
The
I
endurance that takes,
I could never do it.
no.
No. Nope. It's amazing to see how far we have come from like those belted, just stand there in your prettiest outfit, letting the belt just vibrate, to lifting hundreds of pounds. And if you add those hundreds of pounds up, then you're talking about, for one workout session, you could be lifting thousands of pounds if you add all your weight up. I do that every once in a while when I'm like, man, why am I so tired? And then I add it all up. I'm like, oh, that's why I'm tired.
Yeah,
It's
and now people who are they're respected for going to the gym and trying to be healthy, where
mm-hmm,
before they were bullied and made fun of. And
mm-hmm.
this is another touchy topic, but body positivity, where women can be it, it conflicts with Instagram is the problem,
Right.
because it blows my mind that women's fitness has come so far, but with everything else, the universe is balanced. With good, there's bad. We're on this constant scale. It's great that women's fitness has come so far, that women's sports has come so far, that they're just
Mm-hmm.
being amazing athletes. What's sad is now you got men who suck in men's sports trying to get into women's sports because they've gained such popularity that they want to try to steal some of that thunder, which is sad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then and now if you don't have 10,000 followers on TikTok, you're a nobody. I mean,
There's just a lot of pressure, and then you have the women putting the pressure on themselves, because if you could see the most perfect, what you would think of the most the perfect lady with the perfect body, and you think their life is perfect, and they have this little voice in their head, body dysphoria, telling them that, you know you're not good enough. And then they reach out and look for someone on Instagram, like a an influencer, and think, oh, I need to be like this person. And then I was hearing that skinny is becoming popular again, like it was in the early, like late 90s, like when I was in high school, the 90s and early 2000s. It's becoming popular again.
yeah, I'm still trying to figure how far that's going to go, because we went with the anorex, I'm sorry, the diet challenge to models that were skin and bones
Hmm.
as holiday, and now that's kind of, like you said, it's circling back. I'm
Hmm.
wondering just if it's going to go to that extreme or not, though, because YouTube's cracking down.
Okay.
Now if they think you have, the mukbangs are going away, all the people shove them in their face,
Hmm.
and people with a disorder who are skin and bones are going away too. So they're going to have to find a fine line if they want to maintain a social media presence.
Because I have girls, and I don't want my daughters to look at these people and think this is the way I should be. Like, I looked at the girls in the magazines thinking this is the kind of figure body I need, and it wasn't my body figure. Like, I was not built to be a beanpole in
Yeah,
the late 90s.
I hope it doesn't go to the extreme that they're looking at with Jane Fonda on there again.
Mhm.
Because even
She
she said she wasn't healthy.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because a lot of those people doing those workout videos, because one of the people that I just, and then there was it was Turbo Jam, and I think her name is like Charlene Johnson or something like that. She was the lady doing the videos, and she came out. Listened to her podcast, and she came out saying that she was unhealthy doing those workout videos. Like, she was not eating so she could maintain an image of being strong and look like she's healthy, and to sell her products to the average person.
Yeah, Amy says it's interesting to me to see interviews with models during my era, big in the 80s. Sports Illustrated covers, and none of them considered that a happy time in their life at all with all the pictures. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
totally agree, Amy. And there's some of those women now that actually look better than they did back then, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I mean, Jane Fonda just put out a new workout video for the people who live in the VR, the Meta, or whatever that's called. And I showed a video, and she looks freaking fantastic.
But how much plastic surgery has she had?
Well, yeah, when you got the money, I guess you can afford to look.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you look at it, if you look at people living a healthy lifestyle, like I look younger being 46 than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s because I didn't start working out until I was 38. So I look like reversed in age. Like some of the people I graduated with, I look the same. It's crazy.
Yeah. Amy says, but yes, at the time I would see them, they have it all, and would
Hmm.
want them. And that was the whole point, to get you to buy their products so
Yep.
that you could look like them.
Yep.
Supposedly just like all the supplements now and workout plans people are selling. And
Yep.
but you know what? I think we're just going to kick back and we'll wrap this up and just enjoy the fact of how far that the fitness world has come in general, but
Mhm.
especially for women. Um,
Mhm.
you got, the women have taken a lot of flack to get here.
Yeah.
It's, and with social media, there's even more flack. There's more pressure. So and some of them, it's just like anything else. Some of them love the pressure. Others, like you and I, would just prefer to remain anonymous and do our thing in our corner and
Mhm.
get our lift done and be home. We don't brag about our numbers or
No.
like that. We let you do your talking on the platform.
And the only reason why I post my videos is because my powerlifting coach, that's how he critiques my videos to tell me if I'm lifting properly or not, or what I need to do to work on for my next meet. Otherwise, I would not post my workouts, my lifts.
At the same time, yours is pretty inspirational too, because of the fact that how far you've come in your
Mhm.
journey, and the increase, and people can go back now and see those videos, and
Yeah.
where I'm past my time. There's no going back to take 165-pound me and at my best 292-pound me. So it's good to have videos of you're not how do I say this? A woman with a big heart who hasn't is just a generally good person with a big heart, a great mom. You live a modest lifestyle.
Mhm.
Not one of those, you haven't let your success go to your head. Hey, I'm the strongest freaking woman in the state and I got the medal to prove it. You're still one of the most humble people I know when it comes to that.
Mhm.
Linda says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Linda. And for somebody who doesn't like the F word, F4K in your name, come on. But all right, with that, we got to wrap it up. So everybody, I'll be back on at 9. We're going to talk a little Bigfoot horror stories instead of Christmas stories. But anything you want to say, Holly? You need to give yourself a plug. You got stuff coming up, so let's do a plug for Holly.
Oh, you mean
Your
what I
store and
what?
your store and
Oh
everything.
yeah, I am opening up. I'm taking the leap of faith and opening up an Etsy store. I make my own soap. And I pick dandelions in the spring and I infuse them with olive oil. And I take the nourishment from the dandelions soaking in the olive oil to make my soap. And so I'm going to sell soap, fire starters. I'm going to sell oil diffusers. I've been working really hard at taking what nature and what nature provides us and our ancestors back in the day used to do, and take that and put that in my everyday life of like um red cloves, pine needles, rosemary, there's thyme, and I'm making soap, and I think it's great. I've been making my own soap for a couple of years, and I thought it's peaceful. I'm all for living the peace, and um so I decided to make it into a business.
And if anybody has questions on natural remedies, DM Holly. I hate to I hate to put you on blast, but she makes the best cough syrup and uh, has really helped me out in a pinch many times. And love her like my sister and my younger, smarter sister because she's helped me out big pinches a lot of times. So, on a personal note, thank you for that, Holly. I love you and your hubby, Chris. Crazy family in the tail. So,
We love you too.
Amy says, let us know when it's up and running, and we
I
will.
will. It's Earthly Tones MI is what it's called. I just have to start posting pictures because I've got a my son is gonna make shelves and stuff too.
Oh,
I
John.
I don't sell. I have bees, but I have three beehives, but I don't sell my honey. I don't make. I like to. I did 55 pounds of honey. 55 pounds of honey this year, and I kind of save it for myself to last me.
It is that yummy, folks. I'm telling you. Every once in a while, she's not looking, so I take a fingerful out of the jar at work or something. All right, with that, from coast to coast, around the world, everybody have. Well, Amy, that's funny. Honey selfish, exactly. Coast to coast and around the world, everybody have a great night. Please have a Merry Christmas. Love one another. It's that time of year. Even if we're at odds with people, we can put it aside just for a few days and be kind. So everybody have a good night. I'll talk to you in a minute.